I'd like for you all to close your eyes and don't open them until I say so. Close. All right. I want you to try to imagine something that you're scared of. Now, it doesn't have to be the most terrifying thing that you can imagine, just something that you're a little bit afraid of. All right? Hopefully everyone has something in mind. Hold on. Okay, all right. Now open your eyes. All right. Now, a dirty toilet may not have the bone-chilling effect on you that it has for me, but I'm going to tell you why I'm afraid of it. And I want you to look past the dirt and the grime of this picture and focus in on something that you may not have initially noticed. The toilet lid has been left up. The horror, right? All right, enough of this picture. And now for some explanations. Now, gentlemen, I know that you've been harped on for the majority of your lives about this particular instance. And besides the obvious fact of being gross, which it is, and there's no arguing with that, there are scientific facts that say not only should you put the toilet seat down, but we all need to start putting the lid down before we flush, because thousands of germs are being spread through your homes and public restrooms by the mere flush of a toilet. Hopefully, by the end of my speech, I'll have you all convinced that not only will lowering the lid before you flush lead to a happier family life, but a healthier life. And in order to do this, I'm going to share some information with you about how and where these germs are spread, what kinds of germs are spread, and what we can do to prevent it. In 1975, Dr. Charles Gerba, a renowned environmental biologist at the University of Arizona, published a scientific article on viral and bacterial aerosols released into the air with a toilet flush. Now, in his study, he would place bits of gauze around the bathroom, flush the toilet, and then determine the bacterial and viral counts on the bits of gauze. And his results are a little bit more than disturbing. Droplets are going all over the place. It's like the 4th of July. One way to see this is to put a dye in the toilet, flush it, and then hold a piece of paper over it. He went on to call this effect the aerosol effect, quite appropriately. And the aerosol effect can stay in the air for up to 2 hours after each flush, giving it plenty of time to do its dirty work. Now, in his study, he determined that the water droplets travel 6 to 8 feet in diameter from your toilet. So this means that it covers your walls, it covers your toilet papers, it covers the ceiling, and most disturbing of all, it covers your toothbrushes. Now, and ladies, in a separate study, he found out that there are huge amounts of fecal matter all over women's purses. So hopefully by now I've grossed you all out sufficiently, but many of you are probably thinking, okay, microscopic poo particles are pretty gross, but I don't know how it affects me in my day-to-day life. Well, let's look at our little friends who are hiding in these microscopic poo particles. Bam, we've got Streptococcus, E. coli, Staphylococcus, and hepatitis A. Now, these are a few of many bacteria that have been found in fecal matter. And just to give you kind of a quick recap on what all these bacteria do, we have the infamous Streptococcus, which causes strep throat. I know we've all probably had that little friend in our lives. E. coli creates sores in your intestines, which leads to bloody stool. Staphylococcus is a manifestation of boils all over your body. And hepatitis A causes your liver to swell. That has all sorts of fun little problems. So keeping that in mind, Dr. Gerba found in households that while the highest bacteria count was actually in your kitchen sponge, it was closely followed by the shower and the bathroom and kitchen sinks. Ironically enough, the lowest count was found on the toilet seat. Now, it's common knowledge that bacteria perpetuates itself in places of moisture. And because of this, and because of the fact that the toilet is the dirtiest place where we do our dirty work, people often clean that more often than the shower or than the sinks, where we often use soap, so we don't often remember to clean it. This is a graph that was put together by some graduate students at the University of Miami in Ohio. And as you can see, it has the bacteria counts in different parts of the bathroom. The toilet is receiving lots of attention, but the other parts of the bathroom are being neglected. So we know now that fecal matter and bacteria are being spread through the public and in our homes through the aerosol effect produced when the toilet is flushed. But now what? How can we possibly combat such a vast amount of bacteria? Well, the solution is actually quite simple, and there are very many methods. Dr. Philip Tierno, MD and Director of Diagnostic Immunology at NYU's Research Center, advises leaving immediately after you flush the toilet, especially in public restrooms, in order to get the aerosol spray away from you and out of your lungs. Another solution is to wash your hands. Now, many of you are probably thinking, duh, that's a given. But in a study done by the American Society of Microbiology, they found that while 94% of people reported that they were washing their hands, when they went for themselves to observe in 5 different cities, they found that only 70% of people are actually washing their hands. So wash your hands. And simply rinsing them under the water for a few seconds doesn't cut it. You need to use hot, soapy water, scrub vigorously for 20 to 30 seconds. Even the motion of scrubbing will kill bacteria. Now, another solution is to simply clean your bathroom at least once a week. Now, remember the aerosol effect that I talked about? Think about every time you go into the bathroom. You flush the toilet, your aerosol effect gets everywhere. And if you have roommates, their aerosol effect also gets everywhere. So there's some food for thought next time you go to the restroom. And finally, close the lid before you flush the toilet. Prevent that initial spread of bacteria. I know it can be hard to remember sometimes. So before I leave today, I'd like to challenge you all, when you get home, to take just a regular index card and write, "Please close the lid before you flush," and tape it to the top of your toilet stand. Now, the bacteria that I mentioned is everywhere, but it won't always make you sick because our immune systems have experienced enough to develop a strong resistance to it. But our immune systems need all the help that we can get. In Dr. Gerba's studies, he found that in filthier environments, we are more likely to get sick. Good hygiene has prevented more disease than every vaccine and antibiotic ever invented. But we've forgotten that lesson. We need to reinvent hygiene in the 21st century. When we're being constantly bombarded by bacteria, it starts to take its toll. And with viruses like H1N1 floating around, we need all the help that we can get. So some quick tips to go. Try just not to touch anything when you go into a public restroom. I know it can be hard, but use toilet paper or paper towels if you can. Wash those hands, scrub them for at least 20 to 30 seconds, and keep hand sanitizer on your person in case of emergencies. My own tip is to clean your bathroom at least once a week. But in the end, please just put the lid down.